Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of I mess around with Game Builder Garage and try and make an actually worthy game in it. And today we're back in the Visualized Game Builder Garage port. If you don't know, it's a game that I've been working on with a bit of a games company that I co-founded. And yeah, you could actually play a real version of the game on PC right now. In fact, PC, Mac, Linux. It's down in the description. Go and try it if you haven't. It's a playtest version, so you know, it's one of those, let us know what your thoughts are. But anyways, so where we left off in last week's episode was that I was trying to get this fixed, this moving object situation fixed. For those of you who don't know, the way Visualized works is that it's predominantly, it's an infinite runner game, so we need to have some kind of scrolling system. And I'm trying to put a bit of consistency in the Game Builder Garage port as much as I can get it. I know I can't get every aspect down, and I've limited it more than what the original is like, but yeah. But how we achieve this scrolling effect is we basically just have a moving object and we just have it go to the end like a conveyor belt, and it'll hit a teleporter that will bring it back to the beginning, and it'll keep doing its thing with moving back a bit. Unfortunately, this solution, despite being relatively good on paper, it's not working out perfectly with Game Builder Garage, and yeah, so it's very buggy. And in fact, let's actually get into playing it a little bit. And you know, usually the first 1 to 2 are working good. Sometimes, yeah, you might get the odd gap in it, but as you can see, there's a lot of things where it'll just glitch out. In this case, sometimes it even stops, like you can see here. For some reason, I guess because there's like some kind of like jam going on, you can kind of see it trying to spawn in enemies. So yeah, we really do need to fix that. We should probably also consider speeding it up so it's a little more fluid with the actual game. And yeah, so there's a lot to really do here. So I think I'm going to deal with speeding up a little bit first, because yeah, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to make it like -3 instead of the -2 that it was, so it's a little faster like this. Unfortunately, it causes issues with the other blocks as they teleport in, because, well, you get things like that, and I think that's what it tries to do, is that it's copying over and all that. The biggest fix that I did off camera, in fact, off camera, well, after I shot last week's episode, I did put in a bit of a fix where I locked it to be only able to slide on, I think, yeah, I'll only get able to make it slide on, if I could find it, on the y-axis only, and basically use effectively a guardrail as a reference. Because what I did is that, yeah, I put in a box here and slide connector there, and it only is allowed to slide on X. Biggest thing I'm probably going to do with the box, I'm going to probably move it down here so you can get it all dealt with. But yeah, there's a lot of problems with this. Despite having all these fixes in place, it's just not wanting to do a whole lot, and you know, it's a little messed up. I'm gonna see where this takes us, but yeah. Alright, so a little bit of a quick fix I did. So as if you looked at it, well, I put it on, I moved down the little rail things. It's so far so good, except for that one. It kind of went up and down a little bit, but in fact that one's now just permanently higher, and even colliding with some of the enemies, because I think what had happened is that the teleportation isn't as instant as I expect. But yeah, so enemies were spawning underneath it, and that was what was causing the problem. So yeah, I definitely need to do a bit of fine-tuning with how it teleports things in. And so yeah, I'm gonna get that one dealt with. Right, so I've done a bit of modding and stuff, about good 5 minutes of work, and I've gotten it a little farther, but I think I've had a bit of an idea of what might be happening here. Well, not only is it that it's actually going a little farther, it's probably another contributing factor, and you'll probably see this around the 250 meter mark. You'll notice that it kind of veers off around here, and in fact this is as far as it really gets, where it gets good. But as you can see, it's rising up like that, and that's because it's at the tail end of the other one. And judging by the fact that it's actually making enemies fall, and you see the third segment behind it, then yeah. So the one thing I'm probably going to do temporarily is I'm going to get rid of this third, or actually I'm going to get rid of the moving object to the left, and probably force it to have some kind of delay. But yeah, for the most part it is working, but it's overwhelming the teleporters a little much. And yeah, I'm not too happy about that one. Well, not really not too happy, but you know, it's definitely a thing that's gonna get us stuck on it. And yeah, so here we go with this. So it's gonna probably have a 10-meter gap, or 10 meters in Game Builder Garage meter logic kind of things. So we get this really long gap, and of course it spawns an enemy there. So yeah, so that's a bit of a problem. But now it's working perfectly fine, despite for the fact that it has this gap. And now it's kind of more of like a issue here. The only other problem that I'm really seeing here is the fact that it's literally just putting one of the layers in front of itself, which I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be doing when the free slide connector says that it shouldn't be doing that. So that kind of comes to what I was also proposing, making the enemies be also moving objects, which probably wouldn't be the greatest idea, but what that would allow me to do is that it would let me have the system be working. In fact, actually, I'm gonna go and undo all of this, 'cause what I'm thinking is I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make this little moving box. We're gonna bring it back up to where it was, but we're gonna do it to the other side as well, just as a little temporary experiment to see how one would act, because I mean, clearly it would act good on paper, but after that, my plan after that would be is that I'm going to make the grass areas, let's just say, not solid, so this way it would become more of like a thing where they could just freely collide with each other and do as they please. But that just brings on the problem of, well, it's gonna, if we took the layer away, it would probably, you wouldn't be able to see the character. So that's kind of the rock and hard place we're on. my other idea is to kind of counter this for the character. At least we could have it on a floating invisible platform, and see, it's still doing that in some amount. I don't know why, but it is. It's just going down, and I don't know what it is, because yeah, there's no teleporters there. There's no solid objects in its way. I guess the physics engine in Game Builder Garage is so garbage they couldn't even bother to do it. Oh wait, they're just using every normal 3D physics engine. And I think this is a problem with a lot of the Game Builder Garage kind of games. Because, you know, there should be like a 2D mode as well, because 3D is cool and all, but what if you want to do like I've been doing and try and backport a 2D game? It's kind of hard to do that because, well, you know, it's two-dimensional, yeah. So that's kind of the rock and hard place that we're kind of left on. So, yeah, it's definitely something that does need its own episode to fix, which this is the episode to fix it, and we don't have the solution yet. As it stands, because we still got a little bit of work to do. I mean, like, to get it to not stick on things. I mean, I don't know how it's getting stuck just by going and just sine waving its way down, which just it doesn't make any sense at all. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna get to work on that. I'm gonna go back on time lapse and kind of get that all fixed up and sorted. Alright, so a bit of time has passed, maybe another 5 minutes. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think we're getting to a point where it's really a limitation of Game Builder Garage at this point. So as it stands, it actually works for the most part, but once you get like 500 meters into the game, or like you get a score of like 500, it just stops going. The blocks stop moving, and it's not really that well explained. The whole teleporter loop system isn't really working properly, and the thing that I did do is that I sized down the little platform that the player is on. So what it does is that now when you move, it basically just, it's staggered, because the one issue I've always spotted with this is that it always likes to basically move. It always likes to layer them on top of each other and stack them, because the teleporters, they get it so close to each other, it's insane. There's still the visible gap, but yeah, but at about 500, the game just stops working. It just breaks down, and in fact, I'll just start it again and let's see what it does, because, you know, you get into it, and this section works fine. This is a little messed up, you know. The 10-meter gap, as I've called it, and, you know, you've got all the enemies waiting on the line for it. Then you get to the 200 mark, you get the nice bits and pieces of gaps. You get the next gap, and then you get the actual land. And then the land, it starts, you can kind of see it slow down a bit, and the voids just fill themselves in, and now it's just not there anymore, and it's just not moving. I don't know why it just does that instantly. It's definitely some kind of physics limitation that Nintendo probably put in. But yeah, about all I can, but as it stands, it seems like about all I could really do about it is fix it. I think what Nintendo really did was that because they wanted to limit how much it is, because, you know, this is where the world ends effectively, so they didn't really want to break immersion or have extensions or anything like that, or any physics glitches, because a lot of these physics engines, they start to get errors when you get like really far out. So what Nintendo did is they basically put an odometer on the moving block items, and at like 500 meters or 175, I think it is in this case, because you know, it's one of these, because it's one of the normal base plate kind of things. It just stops doing physics for everything there, and it stops moving it, and it's a little messed up. But with how sudden it is, and how it happens when everything comes back together, like how it was when we started the game, it's definitely got something to do with the technical limitation, and it's kind of something that's out of my control, and it's more of a bug that I believe Nintendo's never going to fix, because as it stands, they've abandoned Game Builder Garage. It's, well, not really abandoned. They sell it a lot, but it's just, they don't update it. They did they did what Valve did to TF2, but yeah. So unfortunately, aside from the gaps, there's not too much we could really fix. The only thing we could really do is have a thing where at 500, or at like a score of 500, all you could get is a score of 500, and after that, it's just going to be a thanks for playing screen and nothing else, because of how these limitations are. You know, it just does not seem to be something that could be an issue with how I wrote it. It's definitely something along the lines of the physics engines having a panic attack and just going insane over it, and it's just having problems with things. And so yeah, so unfortunately that's where we're gonna have to kind of leave it today, because the next thing we got to do is we've got to implement a similar but also kind of garbage system into the background. We've got to get the game over screen working, and we got to get that handled properly, because, you know, we got to deal with all these questions and stuff and all these remaining little tidbits. We'll definitely revisit the moving object glitches that we still have that we could probably resolve, like the fact that there are gaps in the way. We also do need to, and unfortunately we can't make it an infinite runner game like it actually is on PC, Mac, and Linux. So yeah, it's a little messed up, but it's technical limitations at this point, and it's again, like I said, something that I don't feel is a big bug. And yeah, so that's gonna do it for today's video. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm doing more videos like this. If you're interested in Splatoon, well, next week is going to be literally the week for Splatoon and stuff, because I'm probably going to be doing a bit of a longer live stream about the Splatoon 3 test fire and showing my experiences with it. I might do like a half day kind of stream where I do half of the event, maybe starting after I have my lunch a little bit, you know, that kind of stuff. But anyways, so yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to leave this project on the side burner for a while. So next video is probably gonna be in about 3 weeks to a month, maybe. But you know what? We'll leave that for then. But make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next episode when I do get to it, and bye.